at some point where you do just have to plug your nose, even if you don't like the value, even though you think you're overpaying, that you just, because there simply is just not enough of these humans.
Yeah, and if you don't want to do that, then you're going to have to take them, in the first and second round. And the other part of it too is, and that goes back to that Kansas City offensive line. By the way, there was a game when I was in Baltimore where Waters got Ray Lewis literally up in the air and carried him for like 5 yards, which I never saw in my 4 years there in Baltimore. That's when I was like, okay, that's a little different human being there.
I think Ray was actually on a microphone that game too, just like, there's just no way, there's no way, there's no way. We absolutely
well, just like
ran the ball
like
down their throat.
Yeah,
it was just one of those games.
I want to say Dante Hall might have taken one back in that game as well. There's no scars. It may maybe cost me a little playoff money, but there's no scars. But the other part of it is, and I don't, forgive me for not knowing this because it's a new coaching staff. But you talk about continuity. I also I'll go to my grave saying, outside of the head coach, I offensive line coach might be the most important hire that you make. I mean, that is a development position. Brock, you talk about not seeing as many quality guys. You see the same thing I do at the college level. The offensive line coach, you get a great offensive line coach, and you have continuity where he stays there for a long time, where he knows what works in their system and what traits you have to have and what you can get by without. Yeah. That is a huge advantage.
Well, you watch that, right, Damon, in New England, Scarnecchia?
Yeah, Dante Scarnecchia and Mike Solari, and been around some great O-line guys for sure. But I'll tell you, Scott Huff, this is his first crack at the NFL at it for sure. But this is a guy. He is one of the guys. He was a lineman himself, and obviously coming with Grubb, knows the system, and it's their first year. But Scott is such a great dude. These guys are going to run through the wall for him. He's just one of them. And I really believe he's going to be an outstanding professional offensive line coach for many, many years.
But there is an adjustment, right?
Of course.
We talked about that. I mean, for Grubb and Huff, the first time going from the college game for decades to this level where the humans are a little bit different. Hey, let's spin this a little bit to Geno, and then I have an epiphany question for you, DJ.
All right.
Geno Smith, over the halfway mark now, right? I think we talked to you maybe when they were 3-0 about his value and his market value and everything else. Halfway mark right now. Is Geno helped himself with wanting a new deal after the season? Or do you think he's hurt his market through 9 games?
Push, is that allowed? It feels almost like a push.
A push?
I mean, I just think the standard of what he can be and the level he can play at and that he's shown, he's not playing to that. So that tells you that market is down. But then I also referenced all these 2-win teams, and I look at so many franchises that don't have a guy. And, it's easy to complain about having let's just throw a number out there, the 13th best quarterback in the NFL, and complain that he's not a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. And there's those teams that are sitting there from 22 to 32 saying, I would kill to have the 13th quarterback, right now. So I don't think he's played his best football, but I think that the need is so great around the league right now, and I think the perception, at least at this point in time, as we sit November 6th, that this draft class is not going to provide a ton of starting quarterbacks, that's at least kept his market where it was.
Okay, let's spin it a little different way. Look at it through a little different lens or optics here. How many other quarterbacks in the league, because I'm with you, I think Geno's about in that spot, somewhere between the 10th and 15th best in this league. How many other quarterbacks are there in this league that could play behind this group right now that leads the league in pressures? I mean, these numbers, DJ, are just overwhelming. The sack rate, the time he has to throw, the hits, the hurries, the pressures, the sacks, it is as much duress as anybody is under. How many guys legitimately could come in here and play the position a whole lot differently than Geno has through 9 games?
Yeah, I think it mirrors closely the number that I just gave you. I think you could find 10 quarterbacks that would be marginally better. I don't think anybody's going to thrive under that type of pressure. But I can make a case that maybe, watching this tape this last week, I wrote down there was four or five plays where I wrote the word greedy. So some of that stuff is on him. Like some of that stuff, he's passing up completions and trying to be a little too greedy to get vertical down the field. So I do think there are some quarterbacks that can come in there and would be a little bit better than what he's been in this situation. I don't think anybody would come in there and thrive for the reasons that you mentioned, just the constant duress.
Did we see JSN take a huge step?
That was a big game. I wish you didn't have the ball pop up in the air on that one pick. But you saw him. This was the explosive stuff that you wanted to see. And I was thinking about it when I was watching it because I was thinking back to our conversation and going back to my report on him coming out. And I was like, that was an Amon-Ra St. Brown game. Now, the challenge is Amon-Ra gives you 10 to 12 of those games a year. So that's the next step. But, man, positive step, absolutely.
Okay, so peel the onion back a little bit here, Damon. I'm sitting on the couch last night. I'm watching, DJ was just talking about this QB class. Fortunately, I've gotten to see Shedeur Sanders. I'll get to see him for a third time in person Saturday. And you know this, DJ. It's one thing to watch tape. It's another thing to meet with him, to be on the field, to see all of it up close. And I'm sitting there watching the tape for now the third time, prepping for him. And I'm like, he reminds me of somebody. I am just seeing somebody. Like, who in the heck is it?
It's Geno.
No, because he's smaller. He's about 6'1.5". He'll probably be 6'1.5" at the combine. Kind of got long arms. He's got kind of an awkward build. He's kind of a sturdy, strong, like legs and everything else. But it was much more of the demeanor. It's much more of the ball. He throws a clean, like Geno, a really clean ball. But he's got a really traditional, like, release that Daniel Jeremiah had at Louisiana Monroe and Damon Heward had at Puyallup High School. And Mike Heward taught us to get our elbow over our shoulder and flick the booger and put the thumb between the legs. And, like, he doesn't do all this lateral, horizontal stuff that you're seeing today. Like, he's got that nice C grip. Yeah, Cam Ward's is more of a slinger. He's more of a U underneath the ball. Shedeur is much more over the top. And I'm watching it. And finally, boom, epiphany. It just hit me. And I'm like, this is Charlie Ward. This is Charlie Ward of the 90s, who had such a calm demeanor, who threw such a beautiful ball that it was, as we watched Notre Dame and Florida State, all three of us, right? And watched him just rip these spirals. And he just constantly, Dion calls him, his nickname in the family is Grown. Like, not Groan, but Grown. Like, he's always been grown. He's an old soul. He's always been. And was that not Charlie Ward? Like, as you watch Charlie Ward for all those years, and I sent you a little note, DJ, about that. I'm curious, how many times as you watch tape do you just have one of those? Oh, okay, that's a little bit of one of those epiphany moments.
I have all the time. That is it. I'll try and write a comp for every player. And I laugh because there's this segment of the population, which I don't know why they've chosen to plant their flag on this mountain, that hate comps. And they throw you the quote about how comparison is the thief of, I don't know, whatever. Yeah. It's just like, it's the worst thing you could ever do is compare somebody. Yeah, everybody's got to be their own person. I'm like, that's scouting. Scouting is there's no perfect comp, but there's, in this way, he reminds me of this player. If he hits his ceiling, he could be that player. Some of the concerns with him, remind me of this other situation. That's scouting. You're constantly going into your database to find guys. And when you sent me that text, it was funny because I think I wrote back to you that one of the things about him that I wrote down a bunch is he's just real calm and quiet. Like, he's got quiet feet. He's just, his feet are in the ground. There's there's a lot of guys who are torque throwers, like you mentioned. There's a lot of guys who are bouncy, springy. He's very settled. And I wore number 17 in high school and in college because Charlie Ward was my favorite player. And the reason I loved him is because it was so smooth and fluid. It was graceful. Watching him play the game. And I did, obviously, as I've said, did not have a big arm. I think Shedeur's got more arm strength than Charlie did, but Charlie did everything.
Charlie was a little more athletic.
Yeah,
obviously the basketball background and all that stuff. But I don't think that even that, I would say Damon, he was more of a smooth athlete than a twitchy athlete.
Agree.
Like, I didn't think Charlie was super dynamic and explosive that way. He was just a smooth athlete, like as a basketball player, more of like a Chris Paul than a Russell Westbrook type.
100%.
Like, he's just going to smooth his way to it. But quiet feet, pure motion. I had written down. I had talked about Geno a little bit with him in my summer study. I think that's who I actually mentioned when I wrote the article was Geno. And then the other one with him is just as a thrower. I thought Stroud's combine performance was the most pure combine throwing performance that I've ever seen. I've seen guys throw it harder. I've seen guys, throw it farther. I've seen all that. It just always feet in the ground, always in alignment, and the ball came out with the proper pace that was required. Shedor's got some of that natural thrower to him.
And he'll sit in the pocket and take a hit. And he's taken a few hits behind that offensive line.
Detriment at times.
Almost to a detriment.
And Stroud's kind of the same way, right? As a thrower, he's a little more over the top.
Longer.
Yep. Watched him try to throw a baseball. He can't. Cannot throw. He literally cannot throw a base. Did you see his first pitch? Like, I'm not even joking. He can't throw. Like, the rotational stuff is not him. You should Google it. Yeah, I'm dead serious. It is absolutely laughable. Like, he's never thrown something, and then you're like, no, he throws a football as pure as anybody does. So last thing here, DJ, looking at that, because there are certainly Seahawks fans, and you know this in every market. I need a quarterback. Geno's not our guy. I need a quarterback. In this draft class, is it just Cam and Shedeur, or do you see anybody else that would come in here and be a difference maker?
No, I mean, I think there's some fun project type guys, and I've got to do a ton more work on them.
Yeah.
But Jackson Dart looks like he'd be somebody that's fun to work with. Who kind of gave me like a Jake Delhomme type vibe. You know what I mean? Like, just competitive, tough, feisty. Is not. I mean, he's got to clean up some stuff with his feet, and he's not just purely accurate. So you're going to gain in some areas with somebody like that, but you're going to lose in other areas compared to Geno. So that's kind of what this draft class looks like.
How surprised are you, Daniel, with Jaden in Washington? I mean, we all knew he was a great college football player, but I saw him early on here at Arizona State and coming to Husky Stadium, kind of was a runaround guy early in his career, and just the accuracy and the long ball. I mean, it and obviously Cliff Kingsbury, I think, is a big part of that. I don't know if he's getting enough credit that he deserves. But I mean, this guy might be the league MVP.
Yeah, he's been awesome. I thought he would be ahead of the other guys to start, just because he played so much more football than the rest of the, outside of Bo Nix. But he had played so much. I thought he would be, of Drake May and Caleb, I thought he would start out ahead of them. I did not think that not only ahead of them, he's darn near ahead of everybody else at the position in the league. I mean, he's playing at an elite level. And to see a rookie raise up everybody else around. This offensive line was not great when you looked at him personnel-wise. They did not have the pieces. He elevated the offensive line. You've got Terry McLaurin and then some other older pieces. He elevated that whole group, so much so that they traded for Marshawn Lattimore at the trade deadline because he's brought so much belief to that organization. It's incredible. It's incredible what he's done, and I think it's two things, the lessons that you learn from it. Number one is time is important. This guy's got to play a lot of football. It's tough to develop players in the NFL right now. This guy played a lot of football in college. That's number one. And number two, the overriding message I got from everybody at LSU who knew him and was around him was this guy is in the building at 5 a.m. every day. His work ethic is off the charts. And I think when you have somebody who's an athlete, somebody who's had time, and someone who works his tail off, you get some special things like what we're seeing right now.
That's pretty much what we get every Wednesday at 8:30. I mean, we get a special talent who puts the time in, the work, and elevates this show and everything that he does. DJ, you're the best, man. I really do appreciate it. I sent you that note last night, and you've been a big part of this fall for us, and we're halfway mark, and hopefully these Seahawks, after a bye week, can self-scout and find some answers and turn it around in the second half. But always appreciate the time.
By the way, I apologies to Salk, but man, that's tough for him to lose his job like that. But it is an upgrade. I'll tell you that. It's a nice upgrade.
Wally Pitt-Heward. There he is, Daniel Jeremiah, every Wednesday with us. An absolute blast. Some fun conversation there with the QBs. Maybe we'll come back to a little bit of that. And it's some baseball at 9:30. But Damon, Wednesday, not only did I wear this hat for Daniel Jeremiah, DJ, and DJ the Dogfather, I wore it for you. Because, on Wednesdays, we do Washington Wednesday, 9 o'clock.
Bow down.
Right after DJ. Yes, every single Wednesday. You're going to help me with it next. Damon's in for Salk. Brock and Salk on Seattle Sports and the Seattle Sports app.
Seattle Sports, your home for Wyman and Bob.
Mariners catcher Cal Raleigh is with us. Well, how does that sound? Gold Glove Award winner.
Yeah, it has a nice ring to it for sure. Just super excited. Really enjoyed this.
Is it anything you even consider?
Yeah, be lying if I didn't say, every year, obviously, you want to be in that category of, being a finalist and having a chance to win it. And when it comes to individual accolades, it's definitely one of the highest things you can get.
On Seattle Sports and 97.3 FM HD2.
Transform your home from top to bottom with State Roofing. Hi, it's Sam Thomason, owner of State Roofing. It's not just about a new roof, it's about a new look for your entire home. Deck out your backyard or give your exterior a facelift with our siding and window options. And there's no better time to start than now with our incredible offer. 0 down, 0 payments, and 0 interest for 12 months. Why wait to make your dream home a reality? We do more than just roofs. Visit stateroofing.com. Let's talk about what's possible for your home.
State Roofing, the best roof you'll ever need.
Hey, holiday heroes. It's a special time of year at Shane Company. As a family business for 4 generations, we know firsthand that fine jewelry is the gift that says it all. From the engagement ring that says, "You're the one," to the diamond tennis bracelet that says, "Thank you for being you." We have the widest selection of fine jewelry gifts, in stock and ready to take home. Come pick out a pair of hand-matched diamond stud earrings or a necklace with a colorful gemstone. Check out our new Bloom collection, one of owner Tom Shane's favorites this year, featuring stunning sapphires, emeralds, or rubies. At Shane Company, every gift and every price range is crafted to our high-quality standards. We have jewelers working in every store to bring your gifts to life, making sure rings fit just right, setting center stones and engagement rings by hand, and engraving your pieces to make your gifts even more special. Your gifts will always be protected with our unmatched free lifetime warranty. Visit shaneco.com and come see us in store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
You've heard the saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. Since 1926, my family's been helping local businesses make great first, second, and long-term impressions. We know how to make your company look good with quality uniforms, logoed apparel, floor mats, linens, and more. If you're paying for linen service or doing it yourself, let's have the conversation. The information and quote are free, but the savings and service can really add up. Visit suplinen.com. Superior Linen Service. It's what we do.
With Floor Coverings International, the mobile flooring showroom comes to you. Book an appointment, pick out the flooring you like, and they'll order and install it for you. It's that easy. Visit fcifloors.com to book an appointment. Floor Coverings International, the stars of flooring.
Want to listen to Seattle Sports on your smart speaker?
Hey, smart speaker, play Seattle Sports.
This message is powered by the